Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will begin in 2 to 4 minutes. Let's give some time for the persons who wanted to attend session, but they are not here yet. And then we shall start. We are almost ready. Друзья, а вот эти две прекрасные женщины, которые сели, они в какую группу сели? Creative one. So what do you think about, like... I think that if we will have enough persons, we will make some subgroup about public educational institutions, and you can join it, okay?
But if no one comes in, then just too fast.
Yeah. So I think that government, are you a private school or public school?
We do not define policy, so it may be a little bit different from what the other people.
I understand. So let's hope. I think you will have some non-commercial, or non-commercial. Yes, maybe non-commercial.
The NGOs.
No.
Yeah.
It's for sure. But still, you have a.
It's a difficult category.
Yeah, but it's very important. So we don't.
It's like putting someone's head.
Отовсюду у нас. Okay, so we're almost ready. Please take your seats. Actually, we made an arrangement. We will have this group there, so you can sit there.
So what?
About
Who's sitting there?
public educational institutions.
Yeah, are there more? Besides the two of us, wait. So you need to wait, right?
Okay, let's wait.
Okay. Well, public.
But my belief is strong. In this. You are actually our future makers. slides, but she says that she...
Is she in the slides?
Yep. Almost there.
We're fine. Решай.
Короче, есть вы с Женей, я в вас верю.
Большая часть, да, большая часть всяких
We don't Yes, okay. Yeah. Hello. Okay, so please take your seats. Ready to begin? Secret. Yes. So, shall we have Alexandria switch on? Hello, Alexandria.
Okay, hello.
So, shall you have your short keynote speech?
Yeah, she's just gonna kind of brief the audience on what happened this morning.
Okay. So first Alexandria, then yes. Okay. Let's take it very comfortable. It's just a few minutes before I can hear it. So good afternoon. My name is Dmitry Zabirov, and I'm very happy to moderate this session. TVET system, who's driving? It somehow refers to the panel discussion, wonderful panel discussion we had before lunch about TVET system of 2030. And right now, it is a workshop about the specific position of the stakeholders named. And you were asked to sit down at the groups. Each group refers to a specific stakeholder, like government, like self-employed persons, like non-commercial organizations. And we lack one group, and we made it. It is a group of public educational institutions. Make sense for you? Like a specific group with its specific view on a problem. Right now we will have 3 short keynote speeches defining the scope and presenting different approaches to development of the TVET system. After keynote speeches, I will make a short introduction in the group work and we will proceed. Okay, ready? So, I'm very glad to introduce our first speaker, Mrs. Alexandra Valerio, Senior Economist at the Education World Bank. Please, Alexandra. The floor is yours. Please welcome Alexandra. Thank you, Alexandria.
Yes,
Please.
thank you. Thank you. They've asked me to provide just a couple of words based on the discussions that we had earlier today. I hope most of you or all of you were in the session. But anyway, we talked about several things, one of which was who are the stakeholders in training, what should their roles be, how to coordinate, what are the barriers to coordination. We also talked about what works, what doesn't work. I personally shared a whole list of things that do not work based on my experience. There's also a list of things that do work. I didn't have time to share that, but there's many things that do work, and what we're hoping in this workshop is that all of those ideas actually get put on paper. And then finally, we talked about what would be some of the pressing reforms that are required to make sure young people are job ready, talent ready for the future. And we talked about a number of things, including motivation, foundational skills, capabilities. We talked about the role particularly of employers, making sure they use the skills of the young people in ways that are most effective. And the idea then was to bring all of that discussion onto today, right now, to go deeper into the solutions and how the solutions can be contextualized to different types of audiences or different types of stakeholders. I think that's just a quick summary. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm very happy to give floor to Sue Husband, Director Employer and Employee Engagement Education and Skill Funding Agency, UK. Please, Sue, floor is yours.
Thank you. So if you attended...
That's okay.
Okay. If you attended the session this morning, you'll know that it was actually suggested that it is us as leaders that should be driving the TVET systems. I'd actually like to suggest that it should be employers. I'll tell you a little bit about the UK system in the next few minutes. The UK skills system has evolved continually over the past 70 years. There have been periods of relative stability, but changes in government usually mean that the skills system is taken in a different direction. In the last 30 years, we have actually had 66 Secretaries of State responsible for skills. We have also had the skills remit passed between government departments 11 times. So the frequency of change has actually left employers and other stakeholders feeling that government has too often driven the agenda and in different directions. But from an employer perspective, they have remained constant in their priorities and demand for skills. So there was a real need for stability and an approach that engaged the key stakeholders in the system. More recently, we have been adopting various approaches to employer ownership of the skills system. And employer ownership is the principle that employers are actually best placed to identify their skills needs, they're best placed to design training programs and also to purchase from the skills market. The results have been mixed. We had some concern that businesses may operate out of their own self-interest or actually lack the capability to operate this role effectively. By contrast, employers are actually saying that the government should do more to let employers properly take control. In either case, we really haven't had enough experience over a long enough period of time to draw a full conclusion on how effective this approach has been. But we do know that over the last few years, there has been a fall in employer-led training away from the workplace. I should also give you some context in terms of the UK labour market. Unemployment has reached record lows. A growing population of the workforce are graduates. The share of the UK workforce born outside of the UK has risen. And the use of zero-hour contracts, so flexible working, has risen too. But employers have a major, and I would say increasing, role to play in the UK skills system. The successful delivery of our flagship technical and vocational programmes is contingent on employers being properly engaged in the skills system and investing sufficiently in skills development to their own workforce. We've recognised the need to strengthen the training offer in technical and vocational subjects, and we want to put these on par with the more traditional academic provision. We're in the middle of some quite ambitious reforms in the UK. We've asked further education colleges and private providers to move, and we've asked them to move at pace along with these reforms, which has been quite challenging for them. We've reformed apprenticeships to make them higher quality and more valuable to employers and, of course, to the apprentices themselves. We've introduced technical levels as a credible alternative to the academic levels for 16 to 19-year-olds. We've set up 4 national colleges. What's interesting about these is they're to deliver training for specific sectors, so digital, nuclear, high-speed rail and creative industries, and that's been driven by the demand from employers as well as a national need. We've got 12 institutes of technology covering the STEM subjects, so that's the science, technology, engineering and maths provision, and we're doing a full review of higher technical qualifications at level 4 and 5. The benefit of events like this is we can really learn from comparator nations who've got higher levels of productivity. I have to say that productivity is probably the ultimate measure of the success of these programs. We've developed an occupational framework in partnership with employers, so that's, and against that we can measure our technical, professional and vocational education. But I suppose for these reforms to really work, and we'll talk about this in the workshop, is we need to build meaningful partnerships, particularly, we believe, with employers and providers. But I also want to stress that we have to work to improve the reputation of vocational and technical education. That came up in the workshop this morning as well. We need to invest more in the individuals who teach in these institutions and organisations, so these are seen as valued jobs and actually attract and retain talented individuals. We also know that despite the reforms that we already have in place, there is more to do. And I think the things that government needs to do better are be able to adapt to the changing economy and have a greater insight into skills gaps. We need to improve the sustainability and resilience of our provider market and its ability to flex with the changing demands and employers' needs. We've got to build on the relationships that we already have with employers to help identify skills needs. And we're working closely with WorldSkills UK to actually embed the standards from WorldSkills into the way that we assess our apprenticeships. They are helping to inform the standards for our apprenticeship provision. And whilst we've made lots of progress over the last 5 years, there is still much more to do. And just to finish, I think the biggest challenge is gaining a cultural shift. We'd like it that parents actually feel comfortable and happy to support their child to follow a vocational route, as opposed to the traditional academic. And that young people actually choose the vocational route because they can see that it is right for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sue. And I'm very happy to give floor to Jefferson Reis de Acevedo, Coordinator of International Affairs. Please. Yes, sir. Okay, if you need clicker.
This one?
Yeah. This one?
Yes. Okay, I'm pleased to be here. Thank you very much to the WorldSkills organization and the Univoc centers. And my mission in this moment is to introduce you all the entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem that we are developing in our city, Campos dos Goitacazes, Rio de Janeiro State, Brazil. This is our network. I'm representing this network. We are 1 million students spread across Brazil with in 659 campuses in all the part of the Brazil. Is the most spread education system there. And what is important here is in our institution, it's possible the students came for a short-term course, okay, but to go to the technical course, to undergraduate programs, to graduate programs, and masters and doctorates in science, in applying science. This is the ecosystem that you are developing. It's a partnership or a lot of institutions, federal, state, and municipal funding organization, regional productive sector, and educational and research institution. We are directly linked to 4 goals. Goal 4, quality education in SDG, Goal 8, decent work and economic growth, Goal 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure, and especially the 17 partnerships for the goals. And we can relate with another, as we can see in the broad sense. I will talk here quickly, so some players here. Okay, the first of one, Brazil in 2013. Brazil created a funding agency for innovation, okay, and it is responsible to create innovation hubs in public universities, in federal institutes like mine, and the research public center. In our network, we have 9 innovation hubs. Each one is specialized in one field. Example: manufacturing, smart energy system, coffee, agro-industry. Okay, medical equipment, embedded system, metallurgy, agro-industrial, smart automobility, and technologies for clean productions. The main three goals of the hubs is support the productive sector through RDE products, provide technical services, and disseminate the knowledge associated with research know-how. What's important here that Embrapi define a model, it's spread in the world. For each innovation project, the agency of the government put 1/3 of the budget, okay? The company will put 1/3, and my institution will put 1/3, but in indirect way, in salaries of research, infrastructure of laboratories. It's important to say that this space is important space for develop competence in science and to develop projects. We work with the company, schools, and rural area. We have projects in that area. Our hub is the specialization in technologies for cleaner production. We are in front of a long river in Brazil, and we was chosen as a promising practice for UNESCO UNEVOC. We have this infrastructure in renewable energy, water analysis laboratories, engineer laboratories, electronic laboratories to develop projects. And this is an example of a multi-sensor environment multi-sensor, and a drone take this to the high position in the atmosphere to collect data. This was our first project from the students in the master degree, develop a sewage treatment unit of this unit, our innovation hub. This is the last one, is a recycle machine. It will put in the supermarket chain in our city, and the people put there the bottle of the plastic bottle and receive a credit to buy in the supermarket. This is another player. Our technology incubator is result this force the effort of this institution, universities, and other agents in my city. And what is important, this technological incubator is responsible for to spread entrepreneurship culture and create new business. Here, the idea is transform in business. And for that, we have an infrastructure, co-working room, incubator company office, a meeting room that support our new business, usually from students. This is some of the current incubate companies. This is example of some graduate companies that's running in the market. Another player is the junior enterprise. Junior enterprise is companies specific for the students and specialize in one area, and the students have this company is inside our institutions. Some example of that junior enterprise. Another important player is our municipal government. They have a lot. It has a lot of initiative. The most important is the Fundecam Innovation. This is a funding created by our municipality to apport budget in innovation project. And another is our Municipal Innovation Center, is an infrastructure to create and empower startups to promote a creative economy. This is the infrastructure of this center. Another important player is the SEBRAE, is a Brazilian agency responsible for support micro and small business. And in my city have a SEBRAE Lab, is a space for collaborating, working of the new and potential entrepreneurships. And I will finish with a success story result of this ecosystem is a ROVAC embedded system. this guy is our student. He got master students. He got his high school and the undergraduate in our institution. He developed this rover, is a project in our hub, innovation hub, but the business plan and the company was supported by our incubator. But what is the detail here? The Embrap put 1/3, my institution put 1/3 in the indirect way, but the problem is the students don't have money to pay the 1/3 of her project. And the municipality use the funding and the student get the loan to put your third part in the project. And this is my final message. We not only want to prepare people who are fit for the future, but those who will build a new future. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much, Alexandrias, you, Jefferson. So, we had some views from the point of different stakeholders, okay? And now I will give a short introduction about the group work. Ready? Great. So actually, different countries, different regions have different drivers. Different stakeholders act as drivers for the development of TVET systems. And actually, each stakeholder can be a driver. And today, the scope of our workshop is your respective organizations and their role as drivers for development. We strongly believe that your expertise, your experience, allows you to make statements about the current situation and about the goal situation, as is and to be conditions of TVET system and what do we lack, what tools we don't already have at our disposal to actually get there. And now I will briefly speak about how shall we get there. We have different stakeholders. There is one more stakeholder which was not named there. This stakeholder is very important actually for the system. It's public educational institutions. We have government as a stakeholder, non-commercial organizations, business, and public educational institutions. We actually don't have a group for the self-employed persons here. We shall work at 4 steps, and we shall work in the matrix. You can see this matrix in each group. It's very simple matrix. One axis is from consumer to creator. If you don't have anything to do with the TVET system as a, you don't go deep there, you just consume their results. You are the client of the system, so you are a consumer, it's okay. If you are contributing, if you are actually shaping the TVET system with your everyday work, okay, you are a creator. And one more axis, you can see it on your matrix, from the content to infrastructure. You can be a content provider, or you can be just the owner of the infrastructure, whatever content is provided there, okay? So the first step is to take a sticker. When a moderator will tell you, I will introduce your moderators a minute later. Just think a little bit, write down your name and organization, and under the guidance of your respective moderator, to put it somewhere in the axis. What do you feel, where do you feel your organization is now? Is it more consumer infrastructure? Is it like consumer, but you don't know which axis is this, so you will put it in the middle of the matrix? Where is your organization now? Next step. Bearing in mind all the presentations from other speakers, results of in other sessions, all the trends that affect our TVET sector, where do you believe your organization should be? Well, we should be more like content creator, okay? Like upper there. Or we really should be infrastructure owner, and that's all. That's your belief, that's your expert view. Or this, you see, this green one, he's almost happy. You can put the second sticker at the same place if you believe that you're absolutely there, that none of the shifts, none of the trends, none of this VUCA world affects you, and you don't need to move anywhere, okay? This is to be position. Then, with your moderator, you will summarize your stakeholders' position from different views of different persons in your group. Let's try to formulate some summary about the position of your stakeholder, government as a whole. Not like Argentinian government position is this, Russian government position is that, government. What does this situation on the flip chart tell us? What's it's all about? Summarize. And last but not least, name tools and collaborations that can help us to get from the as-is position to the goal position, to be. What tools do we have? What partnerships do we need to establish to actually make our TVET systems more adaptable, more effective, and like really thriving? Each group has its moderators that will help you throughout the process. Non-commercial organization moderator Yelena Shatrova. Government organization is big. We have two moderators, Dmitry Sudakov and Dmitry Kaisin. Just call Dmitry and you'll get help. Non-public educational institutions, Kristina Ropelt. And Evgeny Vinogradov for the special group of Russian speakers. If you feel that you are not very good with English, you can join Evgeny and speak in Russian and produce results in Russian. Okay? Are there any persons in the room that do not know which group shall we work in? No? Are you good? So, I think it's time for me to stop. Yes, please.
I really don't understand the Axel content and infrastructure, because maybe in content you are consumer, but in infrastructure you are creator. So why should we define in one of those sectors?
If you don't have specific role as a content provider, or we have some infrastructural organization which do not produce their own content. Okay? If you are both content provider and infrastructure owner, so this is your place, the center of the axis. And here you should also make your choice, where are you now? And you can be like this axis, it doesn't have any numbers, but you can be more here or more there. Please reflect your position of your organization. Actually, where is the focus? If the focus is on infrastructure, so we should move a little bit here, okay? If the focus on the content, okay? It's a slight like tweaks, so we don't have any preset axis here, but it's about the reflection on the specific position of your organization now and in the future, okay?
Okay, but the point is that maybe in infrastructure, I'm a consumer, and in content, I'm a creator. So how do you combine that?
I think that your position of the creator is more important than a consumer.
Okay.
So let's be there, okay? Of course, we all consume something. We all are a part of the producing chains of different quality. So just be a creator, okay? Thank you. Okay, so my recommendation is to actually start working with moderators. If you still have some questions, you can address the moderators. And please respect each other's opinion. Write down distinctively. And let's have fun. Okay, time is now. Government here.
No, I'm going to go in smaller groups.
Okay.
Here is education. Yep. Education.
Yeah, public education. You can join them.
Если хотите присоединиться к русскоязычной группе, пожалуйста, сделайте сейчас. Мы будем общаться только на английском. Perfect. So I would like us to maybe sit a little closer to the flip chart so that we all see nicely because we are a small group so far. Maybe you want to make another circle here and move a little bit. Yeah, I'll go.
Would you give me more stickers?
Absolutely, I will. No worries. I would appreciate if you maybe could change a seat and take a seat here as well, just for us to have a closer circle. Good. No worries. So, once again, I'm Christina. Happy to see you all. I'll be very excited to have this little session with you. So what do we begin with? We begin with little rules, and I would welcome everybody to switch off their sound on their mobile phones or put them on the vibrate mode so that we all feel comfortable. Thank you. The other thing is we would need to make a short introduction to understand who we're working with, right? Okay. So I would suggest that you take your sticky notes at the moment, any color of the sticky notes. If you need more, let me know. You only need one to begin with. And on these sticky notes, you write down the organization that you represent and your name, please. Then we'll begin with the procedure of representing ourselves on this matrix, and at the same time do a little introduction of ourselves. Okay? Take 1 or 1:30 of your time and maybe write down their organization and the name and think of where you want to place it on this matrix. Okay? Take your time, like let everybody finish first. So that you can introduce it publicly, that everybody knows who you are. Go first. To write correctly, all the spelling mistakes and all the other stupid mistakes can be eliminated by you, so you should write the correct text. You're almost there. So let's begin. For the first one, I think, ma'am. So you might want to introduce yourself, say who you are, and tell us why you placed your organization. Come again? Rauza. Very sorry. I'm very, very sorry. Let's double check again. You guys are from education or public education institutions as well? Perfect. Everybody else? Great. I'm so sorry. I don't want to kick you out of the group, but it would be a better idea to discuss it with the out-of-government representatives. I'm so sorry. Okay, good. Let's begin then. I'm sorry. Shall we? I will just write down personal.
My name is I'm director of technical field in a little town here in Yekaterinburg. Our town is very, very small, only 55,000 people. And very practically. And we are in the only one technical school in our town. And I may ask about this situation in in Russian. All, of course, we have government, we have ministry, education, all regions, there are these education in our regions, but the program on special program for our town, for our local program for our town. We have we create ourselves, yes. But if there are standard education standard one for all countries in for all towns, and we have two institutions and we have controls. Yes, my English is
That's okay. So you basically have two different positions for the institution, because one is following the standard, federal standard for all the towns, for all the colleges across the country, and the other situation is for very niche sharing programs. They can create their own content. Kind of dual. Here are my lensmates. I was born in very low school. Happy to see you. Good to see you. Yeah. Okay. Shall we continue? Good to know that. Shall we continue, please? Maybe you can catch up.
Hi. My name's Andrew. I'm from, we call our public vocational education institutions TAPES, technical and further education. I actually, I head up the peak body that represents those TAPES, so and we have national training packages that provide industry-led to develop sustainable competency graph, but then it's us that create the content and the curriculum that then develops people to meet that industry. So I reckon that we are somewhere here. Although we develop it, we also own $500 million worth of infrastructure. It's public.
Whereabout are you?
Right.
In Australia. Cool.
This is in Victoria.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
My name is Tony. So right now we consume. Is that clear? Right? Okay. But now it's
Public educational schools. We consume the content and infrastructure that is given by the They give us the infrastructure
And then you reproduce. Good. So,
block is private. I sent 20 students to block.
wow, look at that. That's a nice connection. Okay, great. So what our model suggests us to do at the moment, we have identified our positions, and as it seems, not a lot of our representatives are creators. So some of them, the majority I would say, are either consumers or consumer/creators. And at the same time, we are mostly in the content sector rather than in the infrastructure, which is not super unanimous across the metrics, but still. Now at the moment we're supposed to show where we want to be in the future. Say within 5 to 10 years, where you want your institution to be. As a matter of fact, because some of you are already here, I think it might happen that you want to stay at the same place. Nevertheless, we need to step to move on. So I would like everyone to use marker. You should have one on your table. That's and try to please make a little arrow to the point where you want to find yourself within 5 to 10 years. So how it looks, I will show you. Basically, you have a matrix, and for example, you have a sticky note here. You can draw a dot and show an arrow that you're moving close to this point. Okay? So please come up closer to the flip chart, and if you can, draw a dot and show the arrow where you want to find yourself in your institution within 5 to 10 years. It might be a reverse arrow. I don't know. You might want to find yourself to be more of a consumer rather than a creator. Happen this way. Maybe you're tired of providing content that is getting outdated faster than it's being implemented. I don't know. It's up to you to decide. Please take your 1 minute of time and draw a dot with an arrow. Wow. Okay, and Jeff? You want to stay in still, please? Happy where you are. So, shall I take it and just say... Okay. Can I ask you to make a very short comment why you decided to draw the arrow in this particular direction?
Me?
Yeah.
I think we have to balance the creation of content with the feed that we get from the industry. We can't make bespoke everything because we want to have portability of students between employers, so we don't want it to be free for all. There has to be some standardisation in the system. I don't mind the kind of content stuff. And the infrastructure gets bound by government saying we don't want to close down campuses. We need to evolve our infrastructure to be able to meet the changing needs of education. We're really bound by that. So I want to be more in control of my own.
Right, but it's still not too much of it. But at the moment, you're already quite in a good balanced position. Good. How about you?
After in place, training that continues. So we really need freshening up of the content. Maybe we do also need introduction. First is what to teach. And on the other side, this last time that we consume the content government gave us. But the government didn't try to take program. I'm that the industry has to have more relevant. So with the government, but with strong position from the industrial sector, they should move the boundary. We need to be on the picture.
Definitely.
So, who would think that someone else is going to shape the content?
Yeah.
It's moved from being government to being...
But you're still moving towards creation.
So that's a good point. That there also should be more independence. Decide how to balance that or how to whatever, but this is all centralized by the government. Top down.
Vertical.
Yeah. Top down.
What about you?
Maybe I think about this. Now we change industrial standards now we have and new industrial standard and it's especially new education. How we improve WorldSkills international mechanisms in our education. I can't give my students when we process WorldSkills, demonstration, demonstration.
You can only give a diploma if you already have them.
Yes.
WorldSkills is there.
If the marks they may be another place with five.
Excuse me, Nico. I have
Yes.
comment on
And
this.
I maybe I very long speak because I want you to understand why I won't change. I won't change because now I want my technical not only have standards of federal. I want standards in our region because the health plans are in all places in Canada. Our town is little. I not have big plants such as plant of industrial. We have a small.
Clear. Whole factory.
In this whole factory, another and I want this program create and have because it's not. I understand. It's not only creation. It's our внимание наше совместные действия. То есть они хотят делать.
Okay, we need to have a joint action. They want things, they show the necessity, and we're acting and responding.
Yes, you understand me? Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm still not sure I quite understand why you don't want to move into
maybe I am not great.
Okay. All right, clear. Okay, clear. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, nice. And Cindy, comment on your movement.
Sort of everyone. We're not given the freedom, we don't have the freedom to be innovators ourselves. Based on our ability to train.
Us are thinking. Us and the government is controlling us. We are not doing, not working.
And I then I've decided to write down 3 points to add more. It's quite difficult because we are very diverse economies and cultures. But still, I feel that there is a need for more flexibility to introduce local or new content. There is a need to be able to change, adapt, and innovate. And there is a big need to interact both with the government and the industry. That's what I feel, at least from the arrows that you have demonstrated. And this is what I do for descriptions and comments. However, there's one very small last point that we need to do before we finish. There is a need to demonstrate different cases or different ideas of collaboration. Actually get a better and more efficient movement towards the improvement of TVET. And if you could give some ideas on the collaboration at the national level, or on a regional level, that also would be lovely. You said you've exchanged, for example. As far as I understand, there's a certain program that gives them a chance to do friendships abroad. Yeah? Okay. Do you think that these kind of things are effective? Or what is that exactly that could or institutions towards a more efficient scenario? Is there any collaboration that you can overcome the barriers and challenges that you all face?
Certainly the program that we set up before was blockchain. Now we're talking about one where shares students work with
The problem is that it's a very small number, so it's not changing the system. So those are they're a good example. I think it's better, for example, there was a big Australia, and you have a big international conference. Last year, yeah, 1 year ago.
Yeah, this was the World Congress of the World Federation of Colleges and Polytechnics.
So that's important. I think that's more important than the students. Because that, yeah, the who went there in this world and what's happening there.
It was good. Next to it, you can say the button. No, but it was open again. So getting out to almost hospitality on and over and a that wasn't formal qualification for but it was a compliment.
Is it important to actually drive a formal recognition for
That's great.
up to them? How would that be? That it was the first written experience that we got for and now people have time to learn and send out unique colors. But it's a something the program sends. Kind of collaboration help overcome general barriers. And you were speaking about all of this, so I'm not out of the college background. I've worked in this area for quite a while, and I think that in the majority of cases there is a big governmental influence over colleges and technical institutions. And in order to overcome this as a challenge, as you said that, the idea of some national partnerships that would be able to kind of keep back the government vertical standards, sometimes quite outdated.
I think that for example, WorldSkills, very importantly, that area. Telling the government, okay, are the WorldSkills. So you try to set the standards here in Chile, you give them to what saying WorldSkills today.
That's what we already have, like WorldSkills already exists, right?
Yeah, so let's bring those standards for local yeah.
Let's check it.
Takes a lot. Professional step down of university. Go to doctorate in university. Postgraduate. Because that they don't perceive important for our study. And I will try to convince them that in that role is important.
Very important for our technical because this sector collaborates with all industrial colleges on all levels. And I may say, in our technical, 7% is foreign students. 7% is very many pockets of our town. and easy. But there are problems. Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, it's all the very important because there are this our standard education is high, and if standard is low, and they may have education in our country, and we have good and maybe excellent specialists in your country. I try to do that.
So I'm suggesting to start wrapping up, working in group. Then we'll have short reflection and we're done.
I understand better when I speak. I all understand. Excuse me.
Change context to use this 1 or 2 minutes if you wish to use this part or these are the wish because some people the
Okay.
So I want this one to just
Okay, thank you very much. Now we have some time for the short insights from the session. We don't actually have time for the plenary. It's a pity. We can't listen to each and every presentation. But if we have some short insights, the main idea that we could formulate, that we could discuss, and something that was really surprising for you, something that was maybe new for you. Or it's a high time to say that it was a 75 minutes of your life wasted. It was an absolutely useless session. It's also a good place to say this. So please, if you have any insights or reflections on this session, please feel free to share. Anybody? Okay. Yes, please.
Do I need to stand?
Yes, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm Janet Dyer. I'm from the Hatteras National Training Agency in Jamaica. I was part of the government group, and something that came across with us is that in TVET, we are so much alike. Under the government hierarchy in the various countries, we realized that we are both creators for both content and infrastructure. For some component, we are also consumers, based on where on the axis we fall. And when we also realized that in collaboration, the major thing that came across is partnerships. We have to partner with our students, we have to partner with our stakeholders, we have to partner with our development agencies, we have to partner with the government. So partnership forms that foundation, that building block for us as TVET entities to move forward.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Anybody? Yes, please.
My name is Dmitry, and I ran the group for governmental organizations. And the really interesting story was that we had people from UAE and from the UK, and talking about success story, how UAE was happy at the position they just identified on the map. UAE said, and the UK was not happy. They wanted to move towards the UAE more. And talking about how they managed to reach this happiness, UAE said, well, we searched for success stories from the UK. And so today we see, and it's a very interesting trend again, that it turns around that countries like UK have something to study, to learn from countries like that were considered more developing. So, and there are things we can learn from South Africa, from Kenya, and so on and so on. So it's very interesting for me.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. We have time for, I think, one more insight, if there is. Okay. So, my very last comment is, first of all, I want to thank you for this work, this conference. Well, it's a highly competitive time. There are a lot of sessions and activities that want to grab you and involve you in different sessions and presentations, so thank you that you are here with us. That's my first, the most important comment. My next comment is, this matrix that was proposed is, of course, a little bit provocative. We actually cannot clearly put us as the content providers or infrastructure owners, as creators or as consumers. But what do we really need? We really need some tools to evaluate and to design our position. We really need some navigation, like mapping of our position. And that was not an answer. Actually, that was the question. And if something from the discussion, from the flip chart, will not just disappear like a moment in time, but we will take it with us and think about it, do something about it, I think we can actually name this session a small success. Thank you very much and good luck.
Absolutely, thank you very much.
What is your